Ladies and gentlemen, now, for some of you, you may be wondering what's happening right here and there. Well, let me tell you, it's BaseStack Breach Winter 2024, and with it, it's going to be the Stage 2 playoffs of today. Yesterday, it was Stage 1, now it's Stage 2. That's how counting goes, and that's how we're going to be seeing the game today. Starting it off now, just to get a bit of a heads up to what's happening. We did have a bit of a delay. Whatever the case may be, we're in the match, and that's what's important. Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? Blue team versus orange. Let me introduce him. It's Team 444 facing off against Zach Gaming, and well, it's slowly making its way through. We already have a bit of a starting point here with opening frag over to Krubazao. I'm not going to pronounce the names too much because honestly I'm afraid that I'm going to butcher them till the very depths of hell. Although that's the Mulisi taking out some damage onto Charlie. That's about 50, 60, nothing too major. But yet again, do want to consider taking your next gunfight quite carefully, especially with the L2A3 being a considerably slow gun to some extent. Although we put ourselves onto some standard. It's the first round. I don't think we should take it too hastily for now. Hippo, on the other hand, I think he's looking to do exactly that. Look at this Warden. Flipper, he may have an idea, but I don't think they're aware. Up there, Risk spots him out. The Monty. I was surprised that we haven't seen the Monty ban happen. Although, Flipper, you get onto Dino. That's a nice second one, and it's a 5v3. Yet again, it's just snowballing off of that start, and it's raining down, but Charlie, he doesn't go down without a fight. He gets one. Cypher gets the second in the round. A nice C4 to return the frag. Shots are going to be missed, and Sample here stuck in a corner. Now the plant could be going down any second, and this bandit is just trying to scoot his way around to find some openings, sadly not knowing that Holy is waiting for him around the corner. At the same time, let's get some things right. It's without a doubt a bit of a hasty start from everything. If anyone's joining in, we are going out of nowhere into nothing. But this is BaseStack Breach Winter 2024. The LAN currently is happening at Dortmund, Germany, which is also being streamed on Target Esports. So if you want to have a German stream, head right over there. But this is English and English alone with a $3,000 prize pool, or euro to be correct. We are an EU. And like I said earlier, yesterday was the stage first of playoffs, today is the second, and it's the last one. Now, the format of today will be single elimination, and all matches leading up to the semifinals will be best of one. So this is a best of one, then we have two more best of ones, a best of three, which is the semifinal, and then yet another best of three for the grand final today. Some sort of group stages, or should I say standings, have already been set. And from yesterday, Penta currently at the top of Group B, and MG Aspire at the top of Group A. Both strong teams, and to some even familiar. We have quite a lot of familiar teams playing here. Some less, some more. And the more known teams, I would say, are Crown Zero, Entropy, E-Wave, MG Aspire, Molotov Gaming, Penta, you know it. That's at least from my side. Asgard as well, 444, Gaming Console. All of them are definitely out there, definitely making their way up. We've seen them in the ESA, and we've seen them in many various leagues. And today they're playing over here at Dortmund to try and secure this prize pool of 3,000 euros, trying to get some nice matches going for themselves. Round two. Let's take a look at these lineups. We gotta start getting down to the basics. We did not start at a starting line. We kind of went for the half race, whatever the case may be, though. The bans. I mean, this is catastrophic. Why did the Monty not get banned? Well, I guess the Maverick and Brava seemed a bit more prioritized in this case and scenario. And the Echo Zami, I can understand that. I honestly don't see why not. Maybe the Echo is a bit questionable. Would have preferred to see maybe Valkyrie. Some more standard picks, but diversity. Who doesn't love it? And this is going to be an interesting match with an already interesting start. A Team 444. They had a good one, a 1v3 at the end. Always nice to establish and shut down the entire enemy team, and bringing the strengths of the Monty, the meta, the shield meta currently in the game. Without a doubt, that is quite a deadly one. Dino, though, is going to be starting us off here, and that's a good start for Zach. Earlier, I wouldn't say it was similar to it. This time around, it's a bit different. Zach, that 416 combo, absolutely love it, giving it a kiss through the screen. That's just how much passion I have for it. It is satisfaction indefinite. And we have the Nook up board. That isn't necessarily the best pick you could have gotten, but you know what? it's better to get a second. If one isn't enough and it's not a good operator, get a second operator that isn't necessarily as important, but it's still going to count for the man count and the frag potential on the enemy team to cut it down and leave it to 1 minute remaining. And Holy, he noticed that. He put it into his brain, into his membrane, and now he's trying to figure out, what do we do? What are the mistakes, and how are we going to fix whatever just happened right then and there? Well, to start it off, take out Charlie. Poor Charlie's been catching strays quite a bunch through these 2 rounds, and sadly, with the 40 seconds remaining, he's wasted a bunch of time, and so have the Melusi gadgets. We still have C4 on deck by the side of Sample. That Bandit, I mean, the Monty, he can go for plants all he wants, but when that C4 is chucked, it's all over. Smash, though, returning it, getting it down to an equalizer. That's Hippo. In the meanwhile, taking some damage himself, but I don't think they're aware of the Melusi laying down behind this main breach. This could be deadly. Please don't make it happen. Holy denies it, but he gets denied himself. In the meanwhile, Smash is going to be going down with him. The pistol is out for the Monty, and he's left with nothing but to chase the Melusi, and she's sadly going to be a bit too fast. Even when they're from a 3 speed to a 1 speed, the Monty is just a bit too slow with that metal plate he has on him, and with it he's just gonna have to chuck around, get the plant down, and I mean the time has ran out. Even if he downed the Melusi, which was quite dangerous, if he had those extra 10-15 seconds, I say he could have done it. That's how dangerous the Monty really is. But it goes without saying that it was a nice round from Zach, a nice little return of damage, and they were definitely bringing it slowly but surely. All right. We're going into exhibition. We saw two rounds of karaoke in a row, okay? That's already something interesting. 1 round goes, you go for a second time because you want to fix upon the mistakes that you made. And well, it goes without saying that that's exactly where we landed. And exhibition is followed up. Now round 3, I'm already seeing something that really puts a shiver in my timber here. It's going to be none other than the Maru on Risk, and if he sticks to it, honestly, she doesn't have bad guns, don't get me wrong. It's the gadget that scares me if put to use in the first place. On the orange team, aka Zach Gaming here, it's going to be the K, the Bandit, a nice little duo of canceling that trick, or not that trick, that breach in the first place. Absolutely lovely. Okay, using the Mira, using the Fenrir, really strong operators overall, and that's the use of Risk. He's on it. That's going to be the Maru Rush, even possibly coming in, trying to clear as much ground as possible in as little as time. It's a nice little combination. That IQ LMG is probably one of the best guns in the game. I'd consider it, at least. With the combination of the SMG-11, it's going to start us off with none other than Dino. Poor Melusi off board. Melusi gadget still on the floor. Whoops, hopefully will be stopping Amaru on the tracks as she pursues this path of clearing out absolutely everything. And you see how much this gained for Team 4-4. This rush, she now made advancements all the way up to drums, all the way. Geisha is there, party, karaoke, cleared in a matter of seconds, and normally at this point people would still be droning. But look at the score, look at the kill feed. It's chucking C4s, it's bullets flying past us, and we still have a solid or a rough 2 minutes to go with. So the attackers have set themselves for an amazing start, and hopefully if they continue off of it well, it should be decent all around. Smash, that's going to be his second, actually his first in the round, I believe, and a second one from Flipper following right after. A 4v2 established C4, that's the second one, but does it connect? Sadly not. Now look at the aggression, proactivity brought about from Zach Gaming as they tried to reconcile some sort of advantage that they had earlier. It was a nice 4v4 that they got about, but look at that. From that point on, it's all gone down, and Flipper with a triple kill, just swinging or be swung, and of course he's going to be taking the first because it's an Ash main, and that's exactly what Ash mains do. Alright. So, it's the first quarter of the match. Now, normally I wouldn't consider this of any importance. I would say the first 3-4 rounds are what establish how a team is going to play in the game, and also how people recognize each other, how they see each other, how they play against each other. That adaptability is most common in these early rounds where you have to adapt fast in order to not lose the first half, to get that 3-3 or a 4-2 going for yourself. And for now it's Team 4-4. Although, just like earlier, they had a round above Zach. Zach got it back. And I think that's what we're going to be leaning in towards. Because we're also, for the second time, going at exhibition. I'm seeing a pattern here between these two teams. And also, at the same time, not much of a switch of operators. We see Dino yet again on that Malusi. Same with the Cade, Bandit, Mira, Fenrir. Not much of a change of operators on the defense. What I can't say that for is the attack. We have the Monty, we have the Thatcher, the Age, the Thermite going for breaches, playing it safe like they always used to. And this time around, we're going to have to see how that works out for them. Not having that ground and time advantage on their side to clear it out extremely fast, I wonder if it'll work out. Sample in the meanwhile, we see the Mandra trick. That's one exothermic off the board, and the Thermite left with only one to remain. Now, where he's going to use it, preferably main breach itself, although we still have Smash with the 8 breaches, so that's all good and fine. That's why you bring 2 breachers in the first place, you know? That's why you have them there, purely just so you can have a nice job. If the Thermite doesn't manage to open up the wall, well, it's surely going to be the ace to do it. And it's going to be surely yet again Zach to start it off. A nice opening, a nice little head start for the defense as they claim out. The Ash Flipper, yet again, not the best of picks. If we could have captured upon that Monty, that ace would have been excellent. Would have been really forceful upon Team 4-4 to start pushing and rather be a bit too hasty in their strategy. Now they can just sit back, relax, get these breaches open. And of course, there's going to be no Cade, no Bandit to trick it out. Although a nice little swing coming out on the main breach is going to be questionable from my side. We're going to have to see how that works out for them. And in the meanwhile, watching the windows, it's not to be expected that Charlie's going to be just lurking around at Cypher, now being the victim of that MP7. The SMG being an absolute stronghold. And a second one from behind, a flank from none other than Sample himself. That's going to be wholly off the board. Charlie down in the meanwhile, though, leaving it an unconfirmed 4v2. As we try to finish the job, you got to watch out for that TCSG. And it's all left down to Smash. Can he match the competition? We're going to have to see here, as of course he's not left to do much. It's a very improbable situation. Some would even consider just leaving him alive so the team can talk out what went wrong and whatnot, but I think it's a bit too early for that, and of course a bit too late for Team 4-4 to get any round in for themselves, as there's going to be Hippo with the final blow. Round 5 around the corner. Yet again, I said a pattern. Team 4-4, first round, dominant. Then Zach returned it with the opening kill as well. Third round, Team 4-4, again, dominant. And then the following round, we just saw Zach Gaming with a nice opening kill, and then following it with just unexpected plays that got them easy kills, early picks, and even better positioning. More comfortability, to say the least. Keeping that in mind, if we're going to be going upon this path, it's just going to be a trade of rounds, and Team 4-4 are going to win it purely because they get to 8 before anyone gets, before Zach does. With that in mind, we slowly descend into the one round standing before the final one in the first half. And I think the one to claim this round is a bit more stepping over towards the leverage to scale it against them. Simply because if you get that 4-2 going for yourself, into the second half it's a lot more comfortable. You know, you don't need to worry about losing any extra rounds. Because if you just advance off of it, it goes 4-2, 5-2, you know the story. That's where it all really starts falling down for the opposition. With that in mind, we also have to get to burying the hatchet in the first place. But in the meanwhile, liking the Frost, liking this defense. They do really play off of this Bandit a lot, which is great. You know, use the C4 just as we saw, as intended against this Monty. Although it didn't necessarily kill him, it's still damage that would probably be unpreferred by the shield operator. Also, at the same time, Zach right now keeping Team 4-4 away from their building. Really pushing them out of sight, really being proactive. At the same time, having them kind of be scared to jump in and challenge them in the first place, because you're really wondering, do we have certain information? Do I know that when I jump in here, will I be safe? These are major points that Team 4-4 just currently don't seem to have on hand. They make their advance through. And we see Dino here right now. Just downstairs. He's waiting in the shadows for an opportunity to strike. Although, patience is key, and we're going to have to see how long that gets him. Sample as well. Didn't even notice him. But he's still here. As he should be. And with it, slowly bringing some damage upon. They try to make their way towards Terrace. Again, we see the rotation on Geisha. That's another angle you could be peeked from. And it's that fear factor that Zach Gaming strategy here put into the minds of Team 4-4. An interesting drone flip. Nice little rotation mid-air at the same time, doing some kick flicks possibly. We're going to have to see how that works out. Damage brought upon Flipper. That's going to be a down. I'm not sure if that is none other than the Frostmat. I do believe it is, yes. As in the meanwhile, Sample, he takes out not only one, but along with Charlie, it's going to be a second, leaving still that Ash on 20 HP. A Pokeball is enough to finish the job, and so is a single bullet, and that's what I'm talking about. That's going to be none other than Sample's bullet landing on the Chrome of Flipper. A 2v5 here, yet again, dominant from Zach, although I don't think it's going to be getting any better for Team 4-4. Hippo with another. Is this going to be a flawless? Sadly not. Holy denies it, and with it, half a minute remain, slowly steadying us down, and Dino laying on the floor, absolute rat, just slithering his way to the third round for himself and his team as we head down to the final before the role switch. And this is where it gets quite intense. Mostly because the 2-3, it can determine it all. Or should I say the 2-4, if it happens, it can determine quite a bunch. Okay? Simply because of the fact that if you get it in the first half, there's no questions to be had. There are none. It's going to be really hard to come back from it if you do manage to get that 4-4 going. It's quite uncommon to say. It normally gets to the point of 2-5, 3-5, and that's where teams start picking it up a bit more commonly. So we're going to have to see how that works out for them well and well. Although, as round 6 starts making its way through, so does Team 4-4. I think they've gotten sick of how Zach has used these strength operators such as the Fenrir, the Mira, you know, the Valkyrie. Really strong operators just purely because they're on deck, so they wanted to give that an attempt as well. Of course, they were using Diamante up until now. But what about an extra? What about that Yangon Cypher? Now we make our way through, and Cypher is going to be making his way to a nice little add to that KD he already has. Cypher, he has been doing alright. Of course, I do like that the kills are a bit more spread out between Holy, Smash, and Flipper. It's not just one player carrying the team. And it's similar for Zach, of course. They have it as well. There's not much of a differential in the kill count. Although in the meanwhile, we have to secure some sort of verticality here. And that's clear to Team 4-4-4. We love the floor drone, flushing out defenders out of their comfortability spot, really letting them go away. A C4 was used, tried to capture anyone peeking and when being too close to the window. Although in the meanwhile, aggression could be key here. And Dino, he spots the head of Cypher. That's going to be the Ying. This is huge, leaving her to be alone. The Ying in that position, absolute massacre. Now they've not only gotten one, but they've lost two in return. Risk finding Sample. That's going to be a nice little trade-off. The Bandit and the Mira. Now off board with it, you still have to find some extra, and in the meanwhile, you know there's a roamer. You know there's someone upstairs just waiting for an opportunity, and Smash is going to be the one picking it up. That's going to be Dino. And a 4v2. Charlie makes his way upstairs. I don't think they're aware of it, and it's a 4v2. At the same time, he looks away at the wrong time, and oh, he still manages to get the headshot in the end. That's all that matters. Get it down for one and try to capitalize off of it. Going back up for round 2 onto main stairs. Let me even call it barbecue stairs. Hippo taking massive damage. He's one bullet away. He steps wrong and he's gone. Charlie taking some damage and at the same time losing his health in the process. As the plant is going down, we have 2 players left securing it, one from above. Do they know about Hippo? No, I don't think so. But doesn't he know about them either? No, he does not. Thermite low on HP. Hippo could not kill him, and that's what's going to be really dangerous here. If you can't get the kills, it's honestly over, because the second you get one, you deliver so much information to the enemies that they just exactly know where you are on the spot. They get that information locked in, and with it, they execute off of it. It's as simple as that. And with it, a similar score to how we started it. Went through it through the middle phase, and of course with it, it's all well and done. Now, it's a 3-3. The teams are looking extremely equal. And honestly, that scares me. Because I'm just wondering, how is this bout gonna go? At this point, we've switched roles. Zach Gaming, they got 2 rounds in a row. And Team 4-4, they're now the ones forcing it to come back. At the same point, though, we have Zach on attack. We have Team 4-4 on defense. And I do believe attack would be a bit preferred here. We're gonna have to see how that works out. Banded batteries coming out. Although we're seeking to try and destroy them. And Zach being a bit of at a sort of standstill here. Not making their approach too much towards Geisha. A bit less ground is being forced upon. And focusing on that main reach, nothing wrong with it. Although if you can establish those early peaks, get some nice checks going to force the defenders out of their spots, out of these corners, off of their rotations, would be great. And in the meanwhile, it is karaoke and T. We have to get something going here. It's already time wasted. Every single second matters without a doubt. And the attackers need to start pushing it through. Now getting to it. Some damage delivered over to Sample. It's not the greatest of starts, although it's already gone by. Just have to do what you can to secure a round victory. Nice little rotation from Zag Gaming here. A full one of that. I don't think they're going to be sticking too much to what they established. Maybe a player or two. Maybe just get some sort of early points connected. We go over to the balcony. We go downstairs. And that shut-in, that type of pressure starts setting in slowly for these players. And with it, they're going to start going off. This is like a little burst they've captured. And Charlie Sample, they ride the wave and get themselves 2. Now 3 more are needed, of course, to finish the job. You have about 45 seconds. Of course, the defense, they will not be able to fight back against it. Another double kill, one after another. Nice combination and a duo all together to finish the job and get themselves a flawless, very dominant without any question. And with it, it's going to be Zach Gaming here at the first one to capture. I do believe it is going to be 4-3. Now looking to get to that 5-3 and that match point, because the match point is such a huge burden on one's shoulders. Mostly for the people that are not on match point. Because then you have to constantly think, I need to win these rounds in a row. If I lose this, it's over. Because 1 round is all it takes. And that's such a huge, I would say, presence on its own. That without a doubt, it really puts people to sleep. Let's get some things straight, okay? So, if this is going to be the first one, we're going to have to lead up with some extra niche rounds. Not only that, but Team 4-4, they need to step it up. Even though they've had some nice advantageous rounds, I will give them that without an issue. It's been on the attack, which is a bit better for them. It's a bit more leading. It's, leaning towards you, a bit more comfortable, especially on Skyscraper, where you have so much options. If one thing fails, take it a second way. As long as you do it within the time you're given, it's all fine, all good, and all can work out. Playing it safe and playing it right, that's the key in Skyscraper. It's a bit more strategic rather than gun mayhem, like Border would be, for example. And that's exactly what we're trying to establish here. See them going from main side, try to go from below, establish anyone or ruin anyone's path of trying to play verticality from the defense, get those C4s chucking, which would be quite dangerous for Zach. And this is where they're trying to capitalize off of. Maybe go from a down-up push, take those stairs, start slowly choking out the defenders yet again, sandwich them back into sight, force them in a turtle, and with it, just drown them. It's as simple as that. They go for these breaches on Geisha. There's going to be no contention from the defenders. Cypher, no bandit on it. Don't know if it was strict or if there were no bandit batteries in there to begin with. Normally, people wouldn't even try. I would consider that this isn't a side that necessarily relies on main breach, simply because main breach is so close to openings. You have people swinging in from drums. You can have people from below kitchen stairs. So many ways of starting it off that it's honestly crazy. And this is that C4 that I was talking about earlier. Holy, he chucks it, he lands, and it's gonna be a nice little home run for himself, as it's a beautiful operator he caught. It's gonna be none other than the Thermite. Now, of course, floors still stacking. Thermite did manage to capture off of some breach, and holy, he's just going to be standing in Geisha and standing on business. The SMG-11 captures yet another sample. He finally shuts him down, but Charlie, he follows up with a second. In the meanwhile, it's a 3v3. The Ash is charging and trying to find more picks, but the base, the entirety of the site is completely empty. They have the diffuser. Can they play this safe? We see some people are trying to push back into site. It's a dangerous position here. Defenders have basically been locked out outside of sight. They are now being held hostage outside of their own setup, which is a key factor here. Zach Gaming, if they keep it, would be huge. Laying down, that's going to be Charlie, taking a note from earlier. I do believe it was a Fender, whoever it may have been. Although Smash, the L2A3, it does enough damage to finish off yet another. With the time ticking down, you have to reserve 7 of those seconds to defuse, and you have to keep some of your mates alive. Dino, he's out, and it leaves Flipper here in a stressful spot to push Dino right into his hands and arms. Loving charm, and with it, another shot to finish the job. Zach Gaming, a bit of a comeback. I don't know what Team 444 were thinking there. I mean, we had 2 players on site. And at the same time, we had 3 off-site, even though it was quite obvious that people were going to push Geisha side, people were going to go for Black Stairs. It was just out there. I mean, you had the breaches coming out, the drones, safe. We see some people are trying to push back. C4s were chucked, yes, and give credit where it's due. Holy got an amazing starter off. But that just didn't seem enough to give Team 4-4 a head start and have them kick off later on. Since it was 3-5, then it was 3v3. And from that point on, honestly, just crumbled. It went from a 3v2 to a 2v2, you name it. Slowly count us down to this 2v1 that we saw in the very late stage. And of course, with the final person or the attacker that was not inside the building was repelled outside, would have been even harder to challenge. Of course, it would have forced the defender to run out. Go get the kill, return back, and it's just not it. It definitely isn't. Going around the corner. It's round 9. Okay. At this point, everyone's in a very stressful spot. It's situational, how you want to play these rounds. That Gaming, they claim this one. They're playing for a lot. They're not only playing for a round, which every team do. It's match point. You know how good one has to feel when they realize they're 3 rounds above the enemy and 1 round away from victory? That's huge. That's a feeling of joy, happiness, and nothing else. Another feeling like that is when you're about to get that round simply because of Charlie. Cypher, he has been cashing straight. I mean, he is 2-8. He cannot catch a break. Poor Rooney put those gadgets down, and then he sadly slows down. You have to watch your surroundings here, Sample and Charlie, too, as both of you are now off the boards. A nice double kill to return the favor. Sadly, won't be able to finish the job, and I don't think Players realize that Sample is down. Oh, no, though. Holy, he has it in his sights, and he set his eyes on the prize to gain some sort of leverage from his team, at least on the man count. Getting out close to this window. The drone is out, but oh, a run out from Holy. The SMG-11, it's a blessing for all of our eyes to get him into this 4v2. What an aggressive play. All he needs is 2 rooms and a window, and of course, a dream to keep it alive. Absolute destruction, without a doubt. Shots coming out. You know, he tries to return some of the damage that was dealt, tries to fix things up, although he doesn't have the hammer and nail, and sadly with it, even though he gets a kill and gets 1 round or 1 man closer to equalization, if that doesn't stand close enough, well, it's time wasted, and that's such a major thing. With 2 players, people can just hold angles, go for C4s below. Sadly, we don't have any of those. We do have impact EMPs. Smash still blocking that shield. I'm confused. Did he not place it down? Is maybe not the strategy? Just use Frost for those traps. The case being here that it's just completely shut out. Crossfires he'll need to be held. Dino, he's a bullet away depending on the gun from death. And with it, he can use gadgets. He can slowly try and tip off against this strategy, this base that has been put up by Team 444. 1-4 too many. Although, yeah, this run in, this jump in is going to be deadly. Although what's even deadlier is this 2v2. Now this is getting a bit more intense. Dino, he puts that standard lower and he makes himself be known, be clear. Shotgun coming out around the corner, damage is exchanged, but so that's SMG-11. You got to watch out for the swing. Ebo, he pulls out the shotgun. It's shotgun v shotgun, but only one winner can come out. A 2v1 here, and Smash just won't be able to do it. What is Team 444 doing here? They had a 4v2 situation and they brought it down to a 2v1. A timeout requested by them, and that's the only case we should be looking at. We should have called a timeout earlier because now it's already too late. The second that 3v5 or 3-5 score was given, timeout instantly, without a doubt. Don't let them get to that match point because it'll only offset your team's balance. It gets that morale kick in questioning. What do we do? Do we keep on playing like this? What did we do wrong? Well, it's quite simple to say what we did wrong. That clutch from Zach Gaming, it should not have happened in the first place. You know, we don't even put that into consideration, what went wrong in that round. Absolute catastrophe. It's how I don't understand Team 4-4 played it so nicely, so together. They were like a group, you know, like one. Hive mind. At the very start, they were completely cornering out Zach. Zach was really one-sided, spread around the entire map. Easy 2v1 or 1v1 situation, putting themselves in dangerous spots. And by the end of it, what was given was the punishment. Team 444 punish them. Yeah, I gotta start counting with my finger because it really confuses me at times. Team 444, they cornered out Zach. They left him outside with nothing, stranded, sticks and stones. But Team 444's bones were broken in the end, and that's honestly just a bit difficult to see how it even went down. It's just this type of mindset that you get into, and at the same time, absolutely crushing it. Well played from Zach there. We'll do the 6th match point, though. That's going to be still set in stone. I mean, it's there, and what do we do about it? Well, we're going to have to see the result any second now. I'm going to take a sip of water just so I don't die. Do excuse me for a second. Alright. Now, we're back to the upstairs. I think it's the majority of these rounds have been upstairs. Maybe 1 or 2 have been on kitchen side. Nothing much besides that, which just shows that no one has actually won 3 rounds in a row yet. It hasn't happened. The max we've gone to is 2, which forced someone to go from party to exhibition, which that's as far as we go to. It's been really an exchange up until now where Zach, they've been winning rounds. They have won 3 rounds in a row. That's to say without a doubt, okay? Just not on the defense. It hasn't happened on the defense yet. And look at them. They go for these early breaches. At the same time, I have no clue what Team 444 are doing here. They have no hard breach denial besides a mute on this site that is really dependent off of main breach itself. A down from Charlie, although I don't think he knows it's there. This could be a slip-up. He tries to go for a bit of openings, extra ones. Cypher here downed. The dock stim here could absolutely res him up like nothing happened. He gets the drone in, and he's going to be rushing two things. We have a player downstairs who is slowly making his way about, but he just won't be fast enough on his feet to get there in time. Charlie, he gets the opening. Low on HP, wishing the Doc Stim would be his to claim, although Holy, he's been downstairs earlier, and well, I can say that he's definitely a presence to be aware of and scared, and I think that Zach are getting to it. They don't want to allow him to roam, especially with a C4 on deck. Flipper has 1-2, which could be a double kill in a matter of seconds, maybe even more, if of course wonders happen. We're gonna have to see that though. Red Pink's coming out just a moment too late from Hippo here to kill this Mute. A nice wallbang would be able to finish the job, but an even nicer shot from Holy finishes off Charlie. Damage. He was on 40 HP already, so you know, might as well put him down while he's there. Taking us down, Sample finally taking out Holy. He wasted great time and also some nice utility, you know, gave him a lot, gave Zach a lot to think about. Get those drones running, open windows, but in the end, they bring it down. A nice double from Dino and Sample yet again as they completely shut it down, and it's all left down to poor Doc. Pull all risk as he's unable to do anything in a scenario like this, being pushed from behind, left, right, and center, and with it, it's gonna be a victory over for Team Zach Gaming. A nice little best of one to start us off. Nice starter and a nice kickoff to see where we can really land at the end of today's game. Now, this was close. Oh yeah, this was very close, and I do believe we're going to be sending it just to a small little break before we get any action started. So I'll be seeing you in a second. Earlier, there was one match that was casted. Of course, it was none other than Zach Gaming versus Team 444. Now, continuing up on the BaseStack Breach is going to be none other than myself, me, and I, Puffo Bob, leading you through yet another match. But today, I'm going to be joined for a couple of matches by the myth, the man, the legend. Hello, Santa. How are you doing?
Jai Sri Krishna, thank you so much for having me. I'm very good and excited for the matches that are gonna happen. And thank you so much for the warm welcome, Poof Bob. Yes, of course, excited for the game, for the players. Best wishes for everyone.
Best wishes for everyone. You said it. And of course, if we look right below us, there's going to be some map bands that are going to be showing us what we're going to be seeing in this best of one following up with Team 444 versus Infected Crows. And it's going to be none other than Chalet. Any opinions on Santa? Do you maybe like the map? Have you had any personal experience with it?
Not any personal experiences. Let me be very, very honest with you over here. I never played Rainbow Six Siege, whereas I'm a huge fan of Tom Clancy. So you
Oh, all
might
right.
hear me quote a lot from the movies. And then the way the game is designed, right from the novels, the references that they have taken, my goodness, man, I go bonkers whenever I see the game. Now, talking about Chalet, the map which has been played over and over and over again,
Yes, it has.
and still players still prefer to play the map. Yes, no particular comments about it. Yet, I felt as if if had it been bank or maybe border, it could have been a different case. They chose Chalet, probably most comfortable with it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's the most common. It's played. It replaces Oregon, and with it, Chalet is going to be the safe pick for all teams here. I think no one is really sad or angry about going to the so-called Chalet, and with it, we're going to have to be going there too. Now, in the meanwhile, going a step back. Earlier, we saw Skyscraper. It was at Gaming versus Team 4-4. Quite a dominant
Hmm.
7-3 score to finish us off, and a very interesting start for today's base tag breach. Now, we still have a couple of matches after this. We have like two best of ones, then the semifinal, which is a best of three, and the grand final to decide the first place, which is going to be taking home €2,000, the second place with 500, and whoever's going to be on third place with 250.
Interesting, interesting. So everyone would be contesting heavily for the amount, and well, we would expect some heavy set of attacks, a lot of retaliations, a lot of comebacks. So let's see who exactly would be the one with the comeback and how the game would proceed. It's quite early, and that too, looking at the way these guys would compete. I mean, just imagining it, particularly at a LAN event, I can feel the energy vibing around.
And the energy is really coming to us. I mean, we have some sort of live interaction over at Dortmund, Germany, where you can catch Dianic and I do believe it's Pefkari who are casting themselves at live, which is interesting. If you understand German, Austrian, you name it, go and check him out. Give him a big look. But here it's English. It's on English only. Okay, we use the general language, and with it, we're also going to be seeing some interesting matches. I said it earlier. I really want to start getting this hype going, and with it, I mean, I'm just interested to seeing what these teams can bring to the table and what, of
Uh-huh.
course, they can pick up while going through the brackets. I do believe we also have the brackets currently standard. And in the meanwhile, quarterfinals right now is Zach, which won the previous match, Entropy, MG Aspire, and Penta. And I think that's going to be a nice pillar to start us off with how strong these four teams are, and maybe also giving us a bit of a upstarting look on who we should check out, maybe see who could also be making their way into the semi and grand finals, although we're going to have
Mm-hmm.
to get to it first.
Hmm. Got to see. I'm not much familiar with the team, so I have to rely. I have to just go with your flow, and all that I can do is like acknowledge. So please take care of that part. Whereas the next should be agent selection, if I understand correctly, and to talk about the teams. Yes, Poofa is the one to provide. Please check out the streams which are there on Twitch as well as on both the languages, on English as well as Germany. So follow and drop some subs, show some love for the teams, for the players, and for the game.
And for the game, for Rainbow Six Siege in itself, that's what we're watching here. And with it, of course, we need to see some sportsmanship as well. Hopefully, there's going to be nothing to interrupt that. Although we're starting to slowly get ready for the game. Players are joining. We're having some things going in the background, and while all of that's happening, I'm going to be predicting some things in the head. Of course, you said it. agent bans, operator bans, you name it. Those are going to be quite an interesting sight to see. In the previous match, we didn't see any Monty ban, which right now Monty,
Hmm.
the shield operator, the strongest one in the game, not being
Yes.
banned, that's quite a major thing. And hopefully we're going to be seeing something like the likes of banning those shields out, at least when it comes to Chalet.
I get scared whenever I see Monty in action. He reminds me a lot about Juggernaut. Not to directly take attack with this particular fellow. So got to say if that one could bet banned, or else we always see the quite common bans in the form. Also, I want to see Warden in action. One of my favorite operators in the game. So I'm slightly excited and at the same point of time anticipating which exact player would go for the same, particularly in the map of Chalet, because that also brings in a welcome change. I'm talking about the agent selection. If you miss out on a slight configuration, you miss out on a lot, and that totally causes that imbalance within the team, within the strat, etc., etc. We will definitely cover more when the game is ongoing.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, keeping it in mind, the Team 444, we saw them in action earlier already, and they sadly lost. I'm wondering what they're going to bring into this one to change that outcome. Infected Crows, I haven't seen them personally, and that's what makes it even more interesting. What type of action do they have? Is the team chemistry running? Are they consistent? All of these questions that we need answers to are going to be done right here and there. Now, earlier, it was Team Zach Gaming. They're already right now, I do believe, standing around the quarterfinals. They're looking good. They're probably comfortable and happy with how that match went. And Team 4-4, I think they had a very nice start, but at that
Uh-huh.
point, it started to slowly crumble down. It seemed like the mood was also going a bit off. And
Hmm.
as of course we're waiting for things to happen, we do have the stats. Team 444, their best map here is going to be Consulate, and the worst is Bank, although that sadly won't be put into consideration, sadly, since we're seeing Chalet. Same goes for Infected. Best map layer, worst Night Haven. It's quite down to earth, with of course how maybe these teams prefer their own maps, and I think they got all four of these out of the question. So with it, I'm just wondering how they're going to fare against each other on the most default map as of current.
Yes, agreed. Most default map, and we it also goes hand in hand with the player choices that they are quite comfortable with certain ones. They are not comfortable with the others. They tried working around with the team on the other maps which got banned, which got avoided, where probably the team had a little bit of misstep, or it could also be so that they didn't have the tactical advantage. Now, talking about the other part, Bob, wherein teams kind of read each other, they do their homework, right? So when they do the same, they also understand their opponent's game style a little bit, probably, if it is available on the socials. Otherwise, they will try to gather as much info as possible, probably from the internet, and that also becomes a contributing factor into the map bans.
Yeah. Overall, though, what makes this, yet again, I'm going to add another layer of interest here. I know we've been stackpiling interest after interest, and let me give you another fun fact. Chalet, we've said it, it's default. What does that mean? Everyone knows how to attack, everyone knows how to defend. It's the basic, and if you don't, it's like not knowing Clubhouse to an extent, although Clubhouse is a bit more out there. Yet again, Chalet, thing is, people have to play it well, and that's where team chemistry is at an all-time high, without a doubt. Especially because strategy, like I said, everyone knows how to play it. Everyone uses that Frost and Barn gaming, picks out the mute when it's needed and picks him off when not. At the same time, attack, you go for the verticality, you don't, you play off of the breaches. And with it, it comes down to team chemistry alone, to fragging potential, alongside with how well the communication is between every single player.
Yes. The team chemistry as well as the coordination should be on point when we talk about these 5v5 matches. So, uh, if you miss on a certain corner and the call did not happen actually as it's supposed to be, that kind of creates that imbalance, which I slightly mentioned a little while ago. So these are the areas of concern which need to be worked. And in the map of Chalet, of course, there are cheeky angles which needs to be covered. And then to move on, a lot of things can go haywire.
Without a doubt. At some point, it may even come down to haymakers being thrown by any team at any given position. Although I'm just wondering, how is the early match going to go? Early match can really offset the balance on one's team. If you get that 4-2-5-1-6-0 even running, I mean, it's already determined at some point. We're going to have to see, though. Comebacks are always necessary if needed. Of course, if you're down 2 rounds, bring it back up. Get 1 round and then just start slowly climbing the ranks. At the same time, teams use timeouts. Tactical timeouts are key to
Yes.
shutting down one's tempo. If you don't, I mean, you're just giving yourself a harder job. Earlier, we saw one being used from, I believe it was Team 444, but it was a bit too late. It was right on match point when they used it, and sadly, it didn't help them out too much. So hopefully, when you see 2 rounds already lost, stick it out. It's better to use it. It's free. It doesn't really hurt you. It only hurts the enemy.
Agreed, agreed. Use those tactical time modes to your advantage. Kindly throw your opponent off the balance a little bit. Maybe a cheeky play here and there, it can work out. Everything and anything and everything is fair in I don't want to continue the sentence because it might sound a little cheeky. Okay, so having said that, very well mentioned by Bob over here that you need to use everything available at your arsenal as much as possible. Got to see how these guys are making the best out of the situation. Let it be with the operators or with the weaponry, so on, so forth. Your strategies. You're gonna go for those 2-1-2 configurations, or maybe kind of like splits, and then cover the areas which are supposed to be, and leave those with that are not.
So many questions. I have so many questions
Lots.
for not only these players, for who the IGL may be, for what they're thinking, what's going behind the minds of these players, these gamers ready to just let it all out, let it rip. We're going to have to see. The time is really a mischief here right now, just letting us wait here and just wonder and ponder in our chairs as of how is this really going to turn out? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. In the meanwhile, though, while we talk about it, let's also talk about some possibilities or maybe predictions of who may even take it home. Now, we have some actually quite well known teams in here, some less, like, for example, Team 44, at least from my personal experience. I don't personally know them, same goes for Infected Crows, but E Wave, teams such as Crown Zero, C-Play, MG Aspire, Entropy, Penta, all well known teams throughout the, I would say, the lower competitive side of things, still quite well known in the scene. Let's say, for example, on ESA in tournaments, you always see them. Same goes for other teams such as Voltage and such. But I'm wondering, is this going to be an underdog story? We have some teams that are unknown. Maybe they get themselves out there, they put their name out and win BaseStack for today because grand finals, well, they decide who takes it home and who doesn't.
Agreed, agreed, completely agreed with you. It's all about how you execute the play and how you move further. And yes, Bob, a lot of names that are kind of familiar for me. I saw them playing on the one stream or the other. If not, whether I was not casting for them or not, I saw them on the stream. So slightly familiar with the name, and maybe I could recall the style if I would be able to, mm, understand the play and then proceed further from there. So the first match between 444 versus Infected Crows, interesting names. It kind of reminds me of another game as well. So I might talk a lot about the other games as well as movies. Do not mind about that because I'm a huge movie buff. Okay. And I also already gave you a hint. Talking about that. Meanwhile, let's jump into the bans. We see Ace getting banned. That's slightly surprising. And then Montai. Okay. I
Yeah,
think you already mentioned that on the desk.
yeah, Monty, it's a no-brainer to not ban him without a doubt. Ace, I'm gonna have to agree with you there, Santa. It's a question even for me, especially because hard breachers are quite familiar here. Normally, people even prefer to go with the thermites. So, wondering what the question is there behind it. Also, the Clash pick, really not liking Shields Team 444. They have bad experience with them. Apparently, didn't ban them last time. Well, they learned their lesson, and they're gonna be doing so this time around. In fact, the Crows, they pick out that Ace, which is very unusual. I mean, okay, that's fair. It's going to be making it a bit more difficult to breach around the side of offices. And Scopos, yet again, something that I'm not too keen on seeing. Although Scopos, she has her advantages, her pros, of course, and cons. Although the pros stick out a lot more on Chalet with the amount of gadget use she has. Even maybe using her second drone as a shield. But That's quite uncommon to see. So, gonna have to see how they work around there. And at the same time, seeing these bans, we leave out so much opportunities. We have the Valkyrie, we have the Mira, the Fenrir, the Azami, you name it. Such strong operators that honestly, I'm just wondering what Infected Crows are gonna use to their advantage here.
You're talking about the operators, and I'm like geeking on the sets they are carrying, on the skins they are using. So, a lot of legendary ones as well as the others which I saw. This can be troublesome. They goes off a little bit of intel and a breach about to happen. The up-down confusion definitely working for the same. Slightly on the other front, trying to make an entry position as much as possible. At the same point, you see that the good access, not a lot to work with. So these particular reinforcements definitely going to create a little bit of. Could you run me through the reinforcements, because I'm slightly confused with the way they chose those walls.
Well, I'm gonna assume they're practically playing off of this small side, just trying to block themselves in, and at the same time, get those advantages of the mirror running. I mean, the mirror offers a lot of vision, especially towards this piano side, I believe. At the same time, though, they leave open library, which is a huge mistake from Infected Crows here. I mean, they give so much ground to the attackers, it's honestly still crazy. Yes, they keep themselves at bay with the main breach, and they castle themselves, turtle themselves into sight, which is not necessarily a bad strategy, but giving away space like this is going to allow Risk to just jump into action and get himself the opening.
Fabulously executed. Knew for sure that the corner would be covered and immediately whiffed it. Fabulous execution right in the beginning, and advantage for the team. So now, this begs the question, how exactly you're gonna retaliate with just 4 men left out. Oh my goodness, down to the 3. The 5v3 situation, a lot to work with, and Smash goes for one more while the team member contributed. The last two standing, it's a kitchen area that is covered. They have executed the crossfire situation. So as soon as you see a movement, most likely chance is one player going down, or probably two, not more.
More than that, we're going to have to see. C4 not in pocket. We still have 2 proximities on this castle, which is just a wonder why it wasn't used in the prep phase. Drones coming out, that's going to be the information on Terex here as he looks to find an execution to punish onto anyone coming down. Trophy, nice wallbangs attempted, but you got to watch your 6. It's going to be smashed with the triple into this round, and verticality drops down onto Toto as Flipper delivers the bullets and gets them the first.
Oh my goodness, man. Kind of like anticipated an attack that could totally overwhelm the others, and here is the first round. What a fabulous execution, and totally smashed the opponents with that beautiful 3K. So we might expect a lot more from the player, and Jaeger in action. Okay, we'll definitely be looking forward for this one. And on the other front, Knock. So a lot of operators, a lot of formidable opponents, Bob, and whenever I see these on the map, I know for sure that action about to be unfolded.
About to be revealed right in front of our very own eyes. First round extremely dominant. It's basically a flawless, and it goes without saying that Team 444 have put themselves at an upstanding position. Already a good start, really put that scale on their own side, and with it, Infected Crows, I mean, you're on the defensive. Personally, if I were you, I'd want to get that 4-2 running at least. If it comes out to be a one-sided match, this is going to be a quick runner without a doubt. Team 444 looking absolutely dominant. I mean, they went for the verticality, they got quick ground, and Infected Crow, they didn't even contest him. Maybe chuck the C4 here and there, maybe put some gadgets down. Not all of them. We saw proximities were still left standing on the final player, and with it, you can just hope to gun them down, but that's not enough. Strategy still needs to be good, and teamwork needs to be better. Slowly counting us down, though, we see yet again a similar lineup here and going to a similar site. Not extending towards library, that's fine. It's bar and gaming, or not bar and gaming, it's kitchen and dining here. And with it, I mean, we're just allowing Team 444 to make their advancement. We see them putting down those tracks, going for windows and balconies, at the same time playing off of Team 444's head holes against them. Absolutely huge.
Huge indeed, trying to gather details, whereas the information, oh, there comes a little bit, and an immediate flick, risk taken care. These SMGs, the action in the close range. Obviously, another drone goes off. This leaves a lot more trade. A quick rotation about to happen, and that going to take care of a 1v1 most likely situation. He is ready, knows for sure. Another peek, and that will land a lot of damage. The wall bang did not work. So that leaves the question, are you going to continue? Quick peek, and the flank happening from the other one. My goodness, Smash, the one who executed a 3K going down. It's kind of a huge loss for the team at this juncture. We're in 444. The question, how are you going to retaliate and come back?
Oh, 4v4. Same time, while the trade did manage to scoot its way through, so it's going to be some sort of advantage here, finally, for infected crows. They get themselves another pick. That's going to be on to Risk, leaving out 3 remaining to go for verticality in this main breach play. Opening up the wall is going to be huge. You deliver so much angles to your own team at the same time, you get yourself a bit of an eyesight. You know, these defenders now, they seem to be looking upon this main breach, and that leaves Flipper over here to go for these vertical shots, get them slowly open, and completely corner out infected crows. As they do lose one, they return it for another time. They're going to be keeping that man count at an advantage for themselves. It's a 3v2. It's like back to how we were earlier. Hiding around this west side, 2 of them does isolate them quite a bunch, and Flipper dropping down hatch is an unwise play, especially with the information you have on hand. 30 seconds remaining. You try to go for a pre-fire and try to kill off anyone you possibly can. You have 30 seconds here, Cypher, and you're quite locked down in sight. With it, you down 1. That's 1. Yet again, it's a nice trade. We've seen a lot of those, but a second nice headshot from him, although finished off by Toto. He gets those shots rolling, and with it, the first round for infected crows.
Oh my goodness, that was a quick whiff, and the score being equalized in such a beautiful manner, a lovely execution from the team. Was totally under the impression that 444 would go ahead and back the round, yet they got heavily denied. Look at the way he placed himself. Quick peeks, bang bang, done that away, says the player for the opponents. Now, the next one. Is it going to bring a change in the strat a little bit? Begs the question. Slight bit of reconfiguration, most likely. Now, 444 already understood the way they are being attacked or being tried to overcome. So here is an opportunity for them to re-change a little bit. We are talking a lot more about this because, Bob, we know it's a best of 1. You lose out on this, you're out. So, got to make the best of these rounds.
Without a doubt, I'm wondering what Team 444 did there that went wrong. They gained so much advantage in the very early stages of the game. They weren't down to the final seconds, only besides the final few when they were actually forced to do so because of the count they lost. Wondering where this teamwork went. They gained so much ground. Had an advantage, but suddenly they lost it. In fact, the quotes, well played. You didn't play off of ground, but purely guns and guns alone, and if that works, well, don't fix what's not broken. That's the saying, and in the meanwhile, going over to round 3, I'm seeing Fuse, I'm seeing Ram. This is going to be a lot of verticality, without a doubt. Also, aggression with the Finka brought about just to help out the Thermite Breach, which is also a nice combination. These operators complement each other quite well, and we're going to have to see how comfortably they are playing together, and this is already so quick. Look at Team 4. They have the upstairs. They're slowly going into it, and without a doubt, they're just letting it all rain down.
The death from above. Here comes a quick peek, and you'll be deleted from the map while the barricade slightly giving them the edge. It's a cheeky play for sure. You have your player covering you from the other front as well. So it's a communicated attack. If you miss out on a slight bit, you miss on the other one, and quick fall off. Okay, so we'll talk more on this. The frags going in and the utilities in place to defend and deflect as much as possible. While the clock is ticking down, the pancakes, how can I forget? A lot of cheeky plays around the corner, and with the fire, oh my goodness, that's a bit of damage, and immediate goes down. Shouldn't have covered on the same front, Bob, right? As soon as realized that it's going to be difficult, should have flanked a little bit. Nevertheless, we can't exactly talk for the players.
A nice little opening and a C4 chucked, although it's going to be too far-fetched for this Finka to be going down. Flipper, he's not liking that there was close death near him, and he boosts himself, gets another. That's going to be the second over for Team 444. And meanwhile, we're stuck in the site, playing off of this verticality. A nice SMG-12 shot from Turks, although it's not going to be long after that he's now off the board. 6 foot under with the rest of the comrades. And of course, Yips, now off as well. That's just absolute domination. Risk using that R4C to his advantage, and as an Ashman would, of course, he brings that Spirit over to Ram. Kira, he's left down standing yet again. It's a 1vx situation, and we don't like seeing those. I doubt Infected Crows do either, but it's all they're left standing with. A flying comes out, that's going to be a nice one. The Deagle is popped, but the only thing being popped here is going to be Smash, popping the balloon over the Zazami, and with it, another round to Team 444. Very dominant, and in the end, they get the second one. But it's only the first quarter that's finished. We need to see how these teams actually adapt to each other. I feel like right as it turns, Crows are pushing up way too much. They're going for these aggressive plays way too early, and they're not waiting for an opportunity. They just hope it all works out, and sadly, hope is not enough to get you round victories. Although, if they start mustering things up, playing together a bit better, that would be great to see.
See, hoping for a victory is a different thing. What matters is how exactly you're planning for it and how your plan is being implemented by the team. You miss out on one card and the others fall, right? So, hope for the best, agreed, time, while execution, make sure that it is getting done on time, on point. We'll talk more about that. Meanwhile, you see the targets going on, a lot of reinforcements. The prior configuration did not work, so slight bit of change close by to the sides. So this can bring in a little change for the team. Whereas you see the attacks happening, and I see 444 getting ready for the same. A 2 rotation from the other corner was also gonna create a little bit of advantage while wrapping further. This could lead towards a 2-man kill. Most likely chances should be a 3v2 from the other front.
Infected Crows giving it a second shot over towards this downstairs. I like that they have a dedicated roamer this time around. It's going to be Oxy on that vigil. A quick backup. He lets himself be known that he's around library, retreats, and comes back up. Smash in the meanwhile, that's going to be a fuse kill, but Longley after it's traded back to this gridlock. Now flying Quatch is going to be a bit more limited, and you got to watch out for these wall banks. Infected Crows, they've been quite a reoccurrence that they just keep on shooting at these walls. Yet again, hoping that they get these shots connected. Although hope, that's something we just can't rely on here, Santa, can we?
No, you cannot. You need to know the map. You need to know the corners. And have to expect which one has been reinforced. Oh my goodness, how did you survive? The wall. Okay, how did I forget this? So this begs us a question. If you do not know about the map, this is what happens, and my goodness, this is something like a snippet from a cartoon. I'm sorry I'm saying this, but I have to call it. But that was quite funny to watch. 3v2, we called it already. Now, gonna convert into a 3v1, most likely to not peak again from the same front, and you did the mistake, pay for the same. The last two going in for the banger, then no for sure. Attempted for a big one, the explosion did not fetch a lot of damage. The last one holding a cheeky corner, Bob. It's going to be interesting.
I'm wondering what Infected Crows is thinking. I mean, Toto here, he's running and gunning, he's peeking. What all Siege players do, they just hope they swing corners and they're aggressive. This is a ranked game for them, and they're playing it with all arms and hopes. Now, putting arms together, yet again, you gotta strategize a bit more. We saw the C4 from Toto. He just chucked it into blue. I don't know if he had information if there was a player there. I don't know if it was his spidey senses tingling. Whatever the case was, he chucked it and nothing came out of it, which could have been used to simmer down a player, bring it to a 1v2. Now he heads upstairs. Don't know the idea behind it. He realizes the mistakes he made, and the plant is now officially down. The diffuser stuck to the ground. The flash is coming out, swings from the enemies, and now you're in a crossfire. What do? Well, we're stuck in this blue. You see the thermite go for a pre-fire. Sadly, it doesn't connect, but all these attackers need to do now is wasted time. The roles are reversed, and with it, why are you pulling out a pistol? Go for the reload on the MP7 and start getting your things together. Right now, you gotta push up, and you gotta push up fast. You see how quick this action is going down, and every single count, every single second matters. 6 seconds on him, and with it, Holy delivers the final blow.
My goodness, he was ready for the same. A quick peek and a tada bye-bye, says the team, says the player. Lovely execution on the round, and yes, you rightly called it. The C4 just chucked did not use it to the best. Otherwise, it could have fetched the actual numbers that they were looking for. Nevertheless, these are the situations from where we can learn a lot and then get improved. So, begs the question: are you going to learn or are you going to change? On the other front, you saw the team quickly adapting to the situation. As soon as they saw the 2v1, went for the cheek corners, got the plan done, situated themselves, and yes, even I was surprised, like, why to go with the pistol when you have the absolute opportunity for the reload. Okay, that was a last round. Another one bob over here, and we see good reinforcement happening. The team have prepared for themselves. And while being attackers, if they are so aggressive, I would like also to see how exactly they are going to be being the defenders.
Without a doubt. It's spread phase still, slowly counting us down to the last 30 seconds here. And I've been seeing Team 444 bring out this really usual lineup of operators. Always the gridlock, maybe a Fink up, some sort of destruction, be it a Ram, Fuse, or Floors. Hard Breach, Thermite or Hibana up until now, and the Ash. Because it's the Ash that does the job when it comes to the killing. Risk, 5 rounds in and he has gotten a kill every single one of them. At least the 5-2 KD says so, and that's already impressive. Look at the fast advance that the Gridlock is making through. Baron Gaming being completely unoccupied. We get the tracks down, and that's already majority of the flanks covered. Now for now, we're just gonna have to take things down. I do like that Infected Crows here are going for a Bandit K duo to try and deny Breach as much as possible. Also playing off of these heads holes very aggressively, but you gotta know your positioning and you gotta know your footing, because if you don't, it's gonna be kills like these that manage to make their way through just purely because you're walking into the lines of sight.
Yes, agreed. Now holding a corner, and that too for this long. Get ready, look behind, check your six. You're holding the corner for so long, and a quick rotation and a flank is happening from the other one. It's a 3v1. The clock is ticking down. The last 3 attempting to go for a victory, whereas I don't think it's gonna happen. The utility revealed a lot more of information, more damage. Here comes the banger, the smash, totally smashing down the team. 3-1 on the board, and he finishes it off with a style. Ah, the use of the shotty, my goodness, man. Everything is being utilized, everything to their advantage, and to be 4-4-4. This tells me that you know the map very well, and you have practiced Shala a lot.
It's that, and I'm sadly gonna have to say that it's honestly a difference in skill. Pros here, they're not showing any type of teamwork, or whatever they're showing, it lacks. It lacks a lot under 444. As of current, with their positioning, we saw the swings coming out on the head holes. He revealed himself completely to main stairs without having any certain information that if someone's there or not in the first place. Same goes, people will just randomly go over and showing themselves over to bathroom window. It's this positioning, and it's this type of wandering around the map that gets them in the position they're currently at. And also, of course, it allows 444 to get 4 rounds, looking 4-1, which could end up in a 5-1 first half. Huge, absolutely huge. And 444, their punishing rate, their execute is on point. I like how they work things together. They don't spread around. They don't go out of their way to try and get kills, but rather work off of information, work with each other, and that should make a nice coalition between the few. For Infected Crows here, I don't see it.
Ooh, a lot of information. A zap, and that slightly caused a bit of trouble over there. They are prepared, they are ready. Now that your position is revealed, I expect a quick change in the defensive factor, or probably a movement would lead more towards the detail. So, one more time, using drones properly deployed and gathering as much info as possible. At the same point of time, they know which corners to be covered. A 3 lead by the team, kind of causing trouble, of course. What matters is how you're going to retaliate and come back. And here comes an answer right in the beginning, with the risk off the way, and smash moving on from the other front. Looks as if they are well prepared for the situation itself. Let it be a 4v5. Ooh.
4v4? Even?
Yes.
A
Did
bit
I
of a
say it so
correction.
soon?
It's the caster's curse. The second you say something, it's Murphy's Law, and everything goes wrong in the next moment. Now, still very early into this game. I don't think we have much here to go off of, besides Team 4-4. They're trying to flush out anyone on this top floor because, honestly, verticality is key, especially for a site like Barn Gaming. I do like that Crows are using here the Frost, still in mind. Absolute top operators here. Shield positioning is going to be very questionable, especially when people are pushing from piano, but it's not going to matter to Kira. He comes swinging out from library stairs, and he finds Fuse.
Cheeky angles one more time. I saw this happening time and again on the other games as well. 3v4, lot of damage dealt with hardly 20 left out. Flipper may not attempt for a direct contact, wherein they already have a 3 victory lead. Oh my goodness. That leaves a lot of room to work with, yet Flipper low on health, can't move in. Cypher, you have to make it done for the team, so he's the one to go for. At the same time, you see that Tudo is so low on health, so can't expect a lot of retaliation from that front. So we can safely say it's a 1v3 if we just not consider Flopper and Tudo, wherein in Rainbow Six is anything and everything is possible, and yes, I'm loving it, Bob. I'm loving this. I wanted to see that from Cypher and it got it done. Now, 1v4. Come on, buddy. I know you can get the wall banger done. A lot of bullets being fired out. A lot of metal to work with. He knows he shouldn't enter. Lovely execution. The mindset is being showcased wherein he is being the upside configuration. Not allowing him, he knows a wall banger about to happen. Not a lot of time to work with. No. Come on, R6. Had he had another 30 or 40 seconds, probably we could have witnessed a fantastic 1v4.
I would have doubted it. Sadly, with the utility that was all still standing from the defense, they had the mirrors, they had the shields, Mize, Jaegers, Echoes, basically everything still standing. It was a bit hard for poor old Cypher. Although, I do like that it seems like now 444 are barking up the wrong tree. I mean, I can't give credit where it's due, and Infested Crows, well, they may not have strategy and teamwork, but they can gun people down, and that's been shown through these 2 rounds that they have won. They always give up ground, and they always back up. But when it comes to gunfights, they do not back down a single bit. The only time they die is purely from those mistakes of, like I said, knowledge, positioning, and such. So, 4-2, not the worst of scores, although Team 444 now on the defensive, which is going to be interesting to see. I'm going to hope to see that Infected Crows really complement with that attack, since, you know, attack is a bit more known for being frag. You have the frag grenades, you have better guns and such, so that should be working well with them.
Agreed. That should definitely work with them. And the clock ticking down. Another 3 seconds for the rampage to begin. Who is going to begin it on whom? A lot of utils to work with. The C4s did not make any connection. I want a C4 takedown on these. A lot of room to work with. At the same point of time, I'll tell you something more about Chalet that happened with my co-caster. He considers this as his holiday home, and when we see the players kind of like destroying the walls and the floors, he feels sad about it. Whereas it's needed in the game. So yep, it's a wrap up, and knows for sure that is going to take care of one for sure, and a quick 2-man takedown at any point.
At any point. Now, Infected Crows, they're bringing out some operators that we haven't seen up until now.
I like it.
The Demos and Jackal. Both clearers of roamers. And it's interesting to see them because normally, Barn Gaming here, defenders don't usually roam. People are on site, and people extend upstairs. As said, the Jackal still works out. Shortly after, that's that positioning that I was talking about. Placing yourself in front of the site with open doors and loving arms is definitely not going to be a way to work yourself out of that grave. Now, they do get a trade. We get rid of that as zombie, which is going to be absolutely huge. Some Kiba barriers are still down, and that helps out Team 444 into some challenges. Also, at the same time, they run into these bullets as if they were eating breakfast, but the Doc Stim does get them back up, and like nothing happened for the past few 30 minutes. Seconds, not minutes.
Agreed with you. The pancake slightly. Will it be the death from below? Most likely possible. Quick peek, the two-man moving it right in front, and it can be a difficult situation. Yes, of course, that left a lot of info. A good stun and heavy denied. The Euclid's going in. A banger from the other front, and we see Holy making a way for the team. My goodness, the fall. The 2K. We can expect one more, another quick peek. Do not. It's going to be troublesome for me to watch around the balcony. And you see Smash with that WW2 weapon, man. The Sten. I forgot the name of the gun. My mistake. So I remember it as from the World War, from that particular era.
Yeah, I think it's the L2A3. I believe, whatever the case is, though, my question here is Infected Crows. It's a 4v1. This is where Cypher was earlier, and I think the outcome is going to be quite similar with the 10 seconds remaining. All he can hope is to higher up his KD. Now, some damage was brought from that frag grenade, but in the end, it's all left for nothing. A nice revolver shot, none of them delivered, and a run out just slowly reloading and backing off. With it, the defenders have won round 7. It's announced, and with it, Team 444, they got themselves that 5-2 score. It's a good starter. And a nice follow-up from the first half, just to get themselves back up and running. As well as it being such a huge difference in player count, a 4v1, that is huge. I was surprised when Infected Crows actually got it for themselves, but sadly, the second they're on attack, that fact that they lack in strategy really starts kicking in.
Strategies kicking in, a lot of change needs to be done, because so far whatever is being implemented is not really working out for Infected Crows. And you also mentioned use the tactical timeout to your advantage. Reconfigure yourself, maybe a little bit. Oh my goodness, are you going to annihilate the others? All 4 moving in a single file so far. Okay. That's the preparation phase, getting ready for the same. I got way too excited, Bob. I thought the round began. So yeah, my mistake for that. So how exactly it's going to be affect the play from here onwards begs the question, and if the team is ready for the same or not also remains the question. Infected Crows so far, you need to get 3 victories, one after the other. And then round 8, this is the time you're not to make, not at round 9.
All right. Now, you take a quick glance, and you see the Infected Crows already switch out that Gridlock for the Nomad, which, okay, not much of a change there. Also a bit more focused on Breach. Normally people would prefer a Buck for verticality, especially since you go up-down, or a Ram, which is surprised. Maybe even a fuse that we saw earlier from Team 444. Although none of that for Infected Crows. They're going to be sticking with the basic, with the good old Scottish sledge and his hammer. The Thatcher Thermite combo, it's dynamic. Everyone knows it. It's been in the game for years, and with it, it's still used. That's just how iconic these two are when together. Going for Breach is probably Fireplace side. In the meanwhile, some sort of rotation is attempted by 444, as they do still have this upstairs control. 3 players up, and at the same time, strategy still strong, still looking quite nice. With it, they can keep it for themselves. 2 exothermic charges are on hand, and with it, I don't believe there's going to be any bandit tricking, but Risk coming out and taking out Oxy. That's a huge pick. It's a Nomad. Thankfully not Thermite, because if it were, it would be quite tremendous for Infected Crows, but yet again, it's an opening here and there.
An opening here and there. Of course, the 4-man left out. Kind of going for a banger. Oh my goodness. The ISL. Quite bit of takedown. And gathers the detail. Nothing from above. Misses on a little bit. The explosion. Oh my goodness. This is troublesome to watch. Quite risky though, yet executed on style. Knows for sure he would get taken down. Of course. The position was revealed. Tried to reposition, wherein did not had a lot of time to work with. The Zapper, yet the team are not waiting. A 3v3 situation. They want this onto their name. They do not want to leave the dominance around to go onto the other's name. Down to 3v2. Where are you? Finds the player around the kitchen, and it's going to be troublesome. Yes, indeed. The West Maintenance is covered as well. Cypher Doing it again nearby, and we see, can we expect a 1v3? That's a bit too much to ask, yet not quite possible, says Cypher. He missed out on the 1v4 on the prior set of rounds, wherein at this juncture, Bob, he got it done for the team. And yes, on the last round, when you said that, it was Cypher on the other one, and it was a different player, on the last round, it was kind of a deja vu moment for me, of course.
In the end, what's the biggest issue here? It's probably these counts of rounds that have been stacking up. 4-4-4 are now looking at match point. 6-2, 4 rounds above. This is brutal. They saw a similar score when going up against Zach earlier on Skyscraper, and now they have the pleasure of bringing up a similar domination spree. And with it, I mean, Infected Crows, I would love to see a comeback. Don't get me wrong. I'm just going to say that it's quite troublesome to do it, especially with what we've been seeing. Of course, there's difference in competitive knowledge and competitive experience between the two. At the same time, 4 rounds in a row while not allowing a single one to be lost is quite an achievement to do. At the same time, though, if we see it, I'll be screaming for them. I'll be all down and cross my fingers to hope it happens, because that would be an intense match, and intense matches is what we're looking for here. We don't like one-sided battles, do we, Santa?
No, we do not. Even I want the team to come back, get those 4 victories. It is way too much of me to ask. Whereas we need to see the competitive spirit. We are at the LAN. This is the day where the audience are even looking for a lot more of action, right? So Infected Crows, come on guys, buckle up. Give us those 4 victories, equalize the score. It is too much to ask. I know for sure. Whereas we want more R6 action. That's not too much of an ask, right? So, alright. Let's see if the match point will get denied, or if Infected Crows can do something big as we thought of. So far, 4-4-4 got it right time and again. They know the flanks, they held the corners, all the windows are covered. Most likely, unless it's a huge rotation, Bob, it's not going to be an easy peasy task. You have your utilities, and again, I want to see a C4 takedown.
Yes, we do. And in the meanwhile, it's going to be Smash starting us off. That's a nice one on Toxic. It's the Grim of all operators, which is great at really flushing out people, at the same time gaining information for peaks. Cypher, he's right then behind him on Terex. He gets that Ash going. We still have the major 3 supports. The Thermite, the Nomad, the Thatcher. A nice little trio between the 3, although we need to get those skills rolling because we have a minute and 40, and slowly that time is going to run past you in a matter of moments. Now Swing coming over to Trophy. Thatcher taking some damage, tries to return the fire, but it's Smash with a double into the round. Remaining with 2 Nomad, or actually Thermite here. Jip tries to get a refract, but it's not going to be working out. An amazing shot, L2A3 in hand. It's the correct usage and at the correct time. With it, Santa, it's a 1v5. It's match point. I think we know how this is going to go.
Yes, we do. It's only one way. Unless a 1v5 happens, which is slightly not gonna happen. His position is revealed. You managed to get one. Did you cover the other corner? Yes, indeed. Ready. Oh my goodness. Don't tell me you're gonna get a 1v3 done at this juncture. It's troublesome. No utilities to work with. A quick peek and a banger on the head at any point of time. There goes the stun. Did not do a lot of damage. At the same point of time, managed to flush the opponent off the way. Yes, indeed. 38 seconds on the clock. So good enough time to work with it. No, he was ready. Flipper with a quick flick. News for sure. The stun would walk in, and look at the way they executed. This is why I mentioned that 4-4-4, they know the map very well. They read it on time, on point, and Infected Crows. Thanks for that fantastic attempt. My best wishes for your future.
A good attempt from both of these teams, and yet again, though, it's going to be quite a dominant match. Earlier, 4-4-4 were looking like the underdog, but now they turned that situation right over to Crows. While though the attempt was there, and of course, there was nice gunfights, I can commend them. They definitely are confident when going into them. It's sadly the teamwork that needs a bit of work upon, and with it, the score is set in stone. We have a team now leaving base, and in the meanwhile, a beautiful performance from both of these. Sadly, no natural 20 was rolled from Crows, and with it, that's going to be ending the second match of today. We still have about, what, 2-3 remaining, and then the semifinals, and then the grand finals. It's going to be absolutely heated. This is only the start, so, tuck yourselves into your seat, because right before we get to the next match, we're going to be heading over to a small break, and we'll be right back with you in a second.